It is time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. On today's show, we got connected farms, buying your groceries at airports, fast food adoption of QR codes is insane. We got one more company doing that. Plus, our resource of the week, M&A activity, and our special guest, Lars Hard, who is the founder of artificial intelligence company Expertmaker. Prepare to have your mind blown. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode number 93. We're recording this live between Asif and I on September 3rd, 2012, which is Labor Day Monday, early in the morning. Welcome to the show. We've got a great one. My name, Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv, that place you come to learn about pervasive computing and mobile and how you can make money out of doing these things, using these things for your business. I'm from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and joining me as always from Toronto.
Yeah, Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association, and you can find me and it at thelbma.com and the Twitter. And yeah, great show, lots going on, and yeah, looking forward to digging into it.
Well, we do. We have our typical 5 stories that Asif has culled, has curated, has put in front of us. We've got our resource of the week, M&A, and some funding activity, and we got a great guest. I had an opportunity to sit down with Lars Hard, who is the founder of a company called Expertmaker, and in Europe. And these guys, you know, I said at the beginning, prepare to have your mind blown. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence and how this fits in with location and awareness and inference and all these kind of things. So it's a pretty great interview. I can't wait to share that with you. But before we do that, Asif, you got some great feedback about what we're doing here. God, I love when we get some good feedback like this. You want to share that, a little bit of sharing?
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, you know, we're always begging for praise, and you know, and,
it's a good way to put it,
and the bad stuff too. But you know,
more
it's
praise
great when you know we do this every week, and it's just great to hear from people that are out there listening to it. So earlier this week, got a tweet from a company called Proximity, Proximiti. These guys are in Australia. So you know, our audience is all over the world, and from where we are, that's all the way on the other side of the world. But Proximity is an agency of sorts that works with brands and businesses to help them, you know, employ location-based techniques and tools. So, but they sent a tweet, and the tweet is the best free resource on location-based marketing at the LBMA podcast. Get the latest from the greatest. Love it, guys. Thanks so much.
Oh man, you know, it fills my heart with joy. You know that there's a reason we do it, is that exact reason for feedback like this, and for at least making an impact and having an understanding. And I've had, you know, a week of that. You know, people have been reaching out to me as well, saying, "Listen, you know what, this is very helpful because it brings a global perspective to this industry." We always talk about this, we're so North American centric here. We are in our own business, and we don't realize sometimes what's going on with the rest of the world. And I think that this gives a good glimpse of what is going on. And for everybody else who's listening from around the world, it gives a great glimpse about what's going on in North America. And I think that that kind of insight is invaluable. So I really appreciate that. I mean, I'm going to pull it up here again, proximity.com.au. Go and check them out, and, you know, support them. Boy, that's all you have to do. Send us a good comment and you'll get on the show like this, get exposed to the audience.
It's that easy.
It is. We are cheap.
Yeah.
We are cheap and easy. Anything going on with the Location-Based Marketing Association in the coming? We're just into September, the new year, business renewal, it seems. This is like you know, New Year's Eve for business. Things start to pick up in September. You are heading out on the road again, Asif?
Yeah, I'm still around this week, you know, with, you know, just, you know, back to school, back to work, all that kind of getting going again and everything. But, yeah, next week I'm off to Denver for the tail end of the nrfshop.org, as well as the M for Mobile's Retail Engagement Conference. And so that'll be exciting. And then I'm there through the weekend, and then on Sunday move over to Chicago for the Food Service Social Media Universe Conference, FSMU. So Yeah, so it's going to be a busy time. You know, September always is, and lots going on.
Well, yeah, you are never in one place for too long. Maybe in Toronto. Yeah. Settle down in
No,
Toronto.
but I have been home for 3 weeks almost, so it's, you know, it's a new record.
Your family doesn't know what to do with you. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Wow, we got an extra set of hands. Well, you know, let's jump into the activity that has happened in the past week. You know, this is why people come and listen to this and watch this podcast is because we bring a great breadth and depth of story from around the world in the location-based marketing world. So let's get into this. Our top 5 stories of this past week. Let's talk about this little company called Shoutlet. I don't even know if it's a little company, but it just, you know, Shoutlet sounds like a little company, a little kind of little name like an applet or a pluglet. But these guys tapping into Foursquare to kind of round out their social monitoring and automation software. Let's talk about how these guys are doing this. I think this is a neat service. I was not sold on it because I thought it was a very competitive landscape. But the more I look at it, the more I feel that this is integrating with Foursquare is one piece of a much larger pie for these guys.
Yeah, I mean, it is a competitive market. I mean, there are a lot of social media analytics monitoring tools out there, web analytics tools. You know, even Google Analytics, you could argue, is a player in this space. But yeah, I mean, these are guys who, you know, are focused on on working with businesses, helping them integrate their social marketing campaigns. So the tool today supports Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and now Foursquare, and sort of putting that all in one place. And it's really about, you know, sort of leveraging the data, you know, coming off of one tool and combining it with the ability to take action on another tool. And that's what I really like about these kinds of things. It's that, you know, somebody's in a location right now, they've tweeted something while they're there, and, you know, we can reward them on Foursquare, or vice versa. Somebody checks in on you know, at a particular one of our locations as a brand, and we can, you know, tweet a response to them in real time and engage them on yet another layer. So it's that kind of ability of, you know, just combining things, you know, if you're monitoring them and you've got tools to kind of aggregate out and pull all that data together. So I love it. You know, your comment on size, I don't know how big they are either, but I know they raised $15 million back in June. So at least they've got some capital.
Big enough
to grow the business. Yeah,
yeah. I love that too. I mean, the big thing for me is being able to you know, reward across all these social platforms, and I think that Foursquare is an important piece. But so is something like Instagram. So is, and you know, we're going to move into this world where photos are now obviously playing a huge part in brand awareness and brand recognition. And you know, your brand, if you're a brand out there, your brand is being photographed right now, guarantee it, and now, and now, and now. And how do you bring that information into this as part of that social graph? And I think that's once they
yeah, absolutely. You know, sort of like this episode is brought to you by
McCafe. No, I was going to say it's actually brought to you by.
I'm kidding. It's not.
And Tim Hortons. But, yes.
And Tim Hortons. Yeah. So,
but
we've got the two competing coffee companies down in Canada going at it here: McDonald's and Tim Hortons.
And yeah, one's a hockey player and the other one's a clown, literally, right? But I think Shoutlet, this kind of thing, once it's fully integrated with all of these social, whoever does that properly, with Yelp and all the other mobile social platforms, even companies like Banjo, you start to then see a much better picture. But I love that you can have 10,000 likes or 100,000 likes in Facebook and then reward people through Foursquare if they check in, or have 10,000 check-ins and then reward people through Twitter and Facebook. And that's the future. That's what we're going to start to see, is these integrated social media mobile campaigns. And so, you know, the more I thought about it, the more I like this little company. Go to shoutlet.com, exactly how it sounds. Shoutlet.com. Pretty cool company. Good start. Good start. No rants. All positive.
No, it's all good. It's all positive.
All right. So from you know, social media and the you know, the advanced state of social media and mobile. Hey, what about this whole thing about farming? You know, this is one of those industries that we hear about. We always hear about this African farmer who is in the middle of his field and has, you know, bushels of hay. And he's rice, and he's trying to figure out where is the best market to go and sell his wares. So he pulls up his Nokia device, he gets a GPS location, he checks the market price for 2 different markets, and then he decides to walk in the right direction with his fares. So we hear about this kind of farming. rural farming implementation of mobile. But this is a company called Trimble who's created a connected farm app for really developed nations. What is this thing, and why do it?
Well, first of all, what I love about this, and the reason I pulled it out this week is, we can talk. It seems until we're blue in the face around how location-based and mobile is being used in retail, and restaurants, and and that's obviously engages the consumer population. So that's great. But there's so many other applications in healthcare, in agriculture, and farming, and all these other sectors that we just don't see enough from yet, and the power is there to kind of leverage GPS tools and other things to make it happen. And so that's so Trimble's doing that, and I love it. It's called Connected Farm. It's an app that's available for iPhone and Android. Yeah, I mean, so what this is really is. Yeah, and it's free, so it's they're not charging for this for farmers. So the idea is if you're out there, you're a farmer, you're an agricultural scientist, you're anybody in that area. This is going out there, mapping boundaries of your fields, flagging particular problem spots, looking for areas where there's pests and insects issues, and kind of geofencing certain areas, tagging certain things. This is great because, I don't know if you spent much time in the farming world, but, certainly where I live is farm country around here. So it's, you can drive for, miles and miles and miles and just see field after field. And some of these things are, hundreds of hectares in size. And, going in and sort of, tagging a certain area in the middle of, your, 50th hectare out in the middle of nowhere, and saying, there's this particular problem or disease issue right now, and being able to map that and tag it to a map, that's the kind of stuff you're doing here. And it's got Instagram type features. You can take photos and tag photos and upload stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it's really powerful, this ability to kind of mapping farming properties and issues related to that with GPS data.
Yeah, this is a natural, surveyors. This is one of those things that I think that is a natural fit for data collection and consumption. Obviously, the tablet is and smartphone is right in the middle of this. It's better than paper and pen because you're storing the information, you're sending it up to the cloud. And I gather this is just, it's up in the cloud, but then it's just for you to print and kind of have as a reference. But I would love to see how they aggregate this data across all farms that are using this tool, and then come up with patterns and recognize when there's a a swarm of locusts, or a certain disease that is coming into a region, or the migration of disease, or a migration of some kind of of seeds even. And I think that this is one of those. We're at the very beginning of this, and I love to see how mobile plays a role in farming analytics. And I think that that's the coolest part. Yeah. Data is the key here, and if you're a data geek, you just look at this and think, my God, it is like Project Noah, where we talked many times, right? Where you're classifying and categorizing a lot of this stuff, and I love this tech. Farms, they're advanced technology, more so than many industries in this world, and I love how they're adopting mobile and location. Very cool.
Yeah, so check it out. Trimble is the company. Yeah. Connected Farm is the app. These guys are big players in the agricultural world, and they're doing great work. So
yeah, hit up connectedfarm.com, and you'll see an example of what these guys are doing, and you can download the app if you so choose. I haven't. I'm not near any farms, Asif. Yeah, I'm surrounded by one, but I'm not near one. Yeah,
it's apple season. I'm gonna have to go picking soon.
Yes, sir. Fall apples.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, that's it. So that's Trimble. Go to connectedfarm.com for more information about that, or to download the app and see how they're doing it. Very interesting. I love that perspective. I love it. Okay. So, third story. We've all heard about these pop-up stores that are coming up. We saw this in the subway in Korea, where they could transform the walls into a grocery store. We're going to start to see this much more, where the world is becoming a marketplace. Every vacant wall or window becomes a store as a result of mobile and location, QR codes and all that, and soon to be NFC. But I love this. Tesco running a grocery store in airports for people who are on their way home to be able to get groceries when they get home. You know, we always have that. The milk is stale. Like this is one of the innovative ideas.
A new meaning to shopping on the go. For the busy passengers at London's Gatwick Airport, Tesco, Britain's biggest retailer, just trialled the UK's first virtual shop. The interactive store allows holidaymakers to buy groceries using their smartphones and arrange for them to be delivered to their home on their return. We're all getting used to buying things online, and many of us already use our smartphones to order our groceries. But this is a store of a different kind. All the products here are virtual. You just need your smartphone and the Tesco app. You open up the barcode scanner and then scan the barcode of one of the virtual products. And hearing that beep, that means that the item's been added to your basket, ready for checkout. The shelves in the virtual store display 80 items on 4 screens, although customers can search for all available products.
The whole size of it that really, when I walked in here, that sort of caught my eye, but yeah, it does look really useful.
Anything that's going to make the life easier is good news.
Yeah, I'd give it a go. It's pretty handy.
That might be part of the challenge Tesco and other retailers face. Many customers like the idea of shopping online, but haven't yet got around to doing it.
Yeah, so you know, you referenced the subways in Korea, and it's also Tesco who did that project you know, over a year ago now.
These guys are awesome.
And so the idea, really what we're talking about here is whether it's Tesco or anybody else, it's about taking the store to where the people are. You know, and no longer relying only on bricks and mortar, you know, stores. And so the idea here is what they've done is Gatwick Airport in the UK. They basically created a wall that, you know, visual representation of products that are available in the grocery store with QR codes, same as they did in the subway platforms. And via a mobile app, you can walk up, you can scan a particular item, put it in your basket, pay for it, and have it delivered to your home. The beauty of this is, you know, the association though with, you know, the particular people and the particular location here. So what you're talking about is people who are traveling. They've just returned home from, you know, a business trip or, you know, a holiday or wherever they've been. So they've been out of town for a while, let's say, and they've just arrived home. They've landed at the airport. And what's one of the first things you got to do when you've been away for a while? Well, you gotta you know, go buy some more milk and bread and, you know, groceries. So, you know, why not, you know, just get off the plane, scan the thing, you know, and have it, you know, delivered so that it's at your house, ready to go by the time you get there, you know, with your luggage. So it makes sense. So I really like this. It's a trial. They're only running it for for 3 weeks as a test to see what happens. But yeah. You know, I think this makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's a practical application of something like this. You know, I wonder if the big screens that they're talking about in the that they show in the video, you know, there's 4 big, you know, I don't know, they were 8-foot screens, and I wonder if that's just a way to create an adoption, because ultimately you can do all of this on your smartphone anyways. If you know, just set up an account with Tesco and your location and order things and then have it pre-delivered, because they said even in the video you can do that up to 3 weeks before. So I think that the screens themselves are just a transitionary thing for people to get used to the fact, or create an awareness for the fact that you can do this, because eventually this is all going to go to mobile or web at some point, right?
Yeah, but it's also about, you know, that combination of media, you know, just helps reinforce, you know, that thought in your mind. Like, you know, normally even though I could probably do it purely on mobile, you know, I get off the plane, I'm thinking about other things, you know, I probably forget about it, and then I get home and then I'm like, oh, I got to go back out to get groceries, as opposed to you know, I get off the plane, the thing's right in front of my face, you know, I can see it everywhere. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to do that, so why not do that? It just makes sense. The one in Korea that they did before, apparently about 55,000 transactions have already gone through that system, And Tesco's not foreign to mobile. I was looking at some of the numbers on this, and they said 16% of Tesco's sales, total sales, involve smartphones, and 8% are exclusively coming from mobile.
That's
to your point,
crazy. So. It's a this is something that's coming, and I love the idea. I wonder what it does. These screens do to basket size. So just as you said, I mean, they're only displaying, I think, a certain number of products, but you can order anything from their catalog, their food catalog.
Yeah.
But I wonder what this does for basket size. Is that sometimes I think all I need is milk at home, and a good bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios. So it's easy to do. But then when I look at the screen, it's like, oh yeah, I need bread, and oh yeah, I need some meats, and oh yeah, for tomorrow, Billy's lunch, and all that kind of stuff. So I wonder if it increases basket size by putting those screens up in the airport. But this is something that Asia has adopted. Obviously, or has trialed. They've tried this. Tesco's done this in Korea. Now we're doing this at Gatwick Airport. But what about North America? Is this something? Are we ready for this yet, or is this something that we've seen? I haven't.
I think so. Yeah, we've seen limited trials of this in places like Times Square and others. I think around last Christmas there was a trial. One of the fashion magazines did something with some of their advertisers. Yeah. So yeah, I think we're going to see more of this. I wouldn't be surprised if come Thanksgiving, U.S. Thanksgiving this year, we saw a couple of these kinds of pop-up stores. So yeah, for sure. Even here in Toronto, we had just recently, back early in the summer, there's a company called LivingWell.ca, a healthcare products company that did exactly this. In the subway station, the main subway station in downtown Toronto, Union Station, it's called. They had a wall with healthcare products and same kind of thing. So you could do it that way.
Well, I would welcome this. I think of media companies, newspaper companies, television, radio companies, and I think that their next move has to be into this. So they've got all these advertisers, and why aren't these guys setting up, commerce enablement for their advertisers through these pop-up stores? It's not hard to imagine. Where people are congregating around subway stations, bus shelters, those kind of things. Why aren't they using those as commerce opportunities, just like Tesco's using the airport as commerce opportunity and subways? And I think that, maybe 2013 is this year where we're going to start to see, the increased reliance on pop-up stores like this or commerce opportunities like this for empty windows and empty walls everywhere to be able to buy product. It's pretty cool. Tesco, if you're interested, you should be following this company because they're obviously on the forefront when it comes to retail and grocery and mobile and pop-up stores and enablement. 16% of their transactions done over mobile. It's incredible. I wonder what that's like for Canadian or American brands, grocery stores. I don't think it would be that high.
No, well, no near that.
Go into them today, and you don't find any kind of mobile engagement whatsoever from at least from Canadian Canadian grocery stores like Loblaws or Metro. So very interested to see how this rolls out. I think this might be one of those trends that we're going to be talking about come the end of the year. Who knows? So check out Tesco and what they're doing with at Gatwick Airport. There's a video that you would have seen by now that is a summary of this. It's pretty cool technology. All right, our fourth story. What is this? We've got this company, Flow Automotive and Proximus Mobility. What's so significant about this?
Well, here's what I like about this. Proximus Mobility is is one of the players in sort of the indoor location space, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth-based proximity marketing, and Flow Automotive is a company that is, as their name implies, they represent the automotive industry and automotive dealerships in particular in sort of North Carolina, Virginia area. So they're a regional player. Down in that area, but they're the title sponsor for, or one of the sponsors for a ATP World Tour event. So the tennis circuit, the Winston Salem Open actually is what it's called, and so these guys are one of the sponsors for this. And I pulled this one out this week. So this was a tournament that went on August 19th to the 25th. So it just wrapped up about a week ago. And what I liked about it is that when we talk about indoor location, we talk often about, you know, being inside of buildings and figuring out exactly where somebody is in a building. But here you have the same technology being applied at an event, you know, and outdoors, you know, in a lot of cases. So the idea here is you have this company who's, you know, one of the big sponsors. They've got all sorts of, you know, booths and different things going on, and that they're trying to draw attention to. And they're using the Proximus technology to do that. They're using the Proximus technology to sort of, you know, push notify people that are there to come and check out a certain thing. And I really like that. And it's a different application. We don't often hear about event-based marketing using this type of technology. So that I just want to draw attention to that and to say that, you know, indoor locations, not only inside of a building, always, you know, locked inside of a store, you know, you can take it out as well and apply it to event sponsorship and marketing like this.
Yeah, and we see this obviously right now inside of stadiums that are existing right now, like basketball stadiums, hockey arenas, and baseball stadiums. You know, very few of them, but there's massive opportunity. And you know, we talked about Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment a couple of episodes ago, and I think that's what we're talking about here, is that integration, that experience. To be able to, you know, I think it distills down to Canadians, anyways, as we said before, is finding the shortest line to a beer. Right? This is the beginning of that. There's got to be a reason to use these things, and I like these kinds of experiments, and great to see what the results were. I wish people would release results, like the impact, like, you know, the assessment of how this happened, and maybe what we can do is try to get some of these guys, you know, either from Flow or from Proximus, on the show to talk about the results.
For sure, yeah, and I'll make a note of that, Rob, and I'll reach out to. Proximus has a new head of marketing. I just spoke to him a couple weeks ago, so maybe we can get him on board, Jerry Arias, and see what he has to say about this. You know, a few weeks after it's all wrapped up. Yeah,
you know, I think that's really what will move this industry forward. Is companies that are on the forefront of doing these things and offering a little bit of insight as to the impact and the benefit for doing this. And then we're going to start to see this roll out if it works out very well. So we'll try to do that. That's on Asif. You guys out there watching or listening,
done.
Hit him up with an email.
Consider it done.
Nice. All right, fifth and last story. What is it with these with the fast food companies that are adopting the QR code to drive activity for the stores? These guys, we all know the story of fast food companies. They opportunistic when the automobile started to take off and the highways started to be built and people needed food, and all of a sudden McDonald's was everywhere, and then that's what built the you know, in a very quick summary, that's what built the fast food industry. And now you know, they've adopted the QR code really as the go-to mechanism in order to be able to drive activity to stores. And so the latest company to do this, hey, Wendy's, Dave Smith, right? Isn't that his name, Dave?
Yeah.
From Wendy's, they're launching their mobile QR campaign in order to be able to drive activity to the store. What is this? I've got my thoughts on this, but why is this? Why is it fast food companies that are adopting this?
Well, you know, I think it's, you know, first of all, I think QR codes are, you know, are holding their own at the moment. You know, consumers are getting more comfortable with the idea. They see one, you know, people are scanning them like crazy. You know, I'm still a bit. My one thing that I don't like about QR codes at the moment is if you don't properly message them, right? If you don't put enough description around the QR code that says, "Here's what happens when you scan this," right, I think it can be really risky, and you can open yourself up to, you know, a lot of potential backlash from consumers. Because if you just have a QR code up there and somebody scans it and, you know, heaven forbid it goes to some place that it shouldn't go to, you know, or some kid scans it and it goes to something that's just completely inappropriate.
Like, hey,
you know,
Asif, like a fast food chain, by the way.
Like a fast food chain.
It's totally inappropriate for kids.
So, you know, there's always risk there, but I think, you know, there's ways to do it well with proper messaging around that. And in this particular case, I think the messaging is solid. So what they've done is they're putting QR codes on the bags. You know, so you order your food, you know, they put it in a bag, and on the outside of the bag is a QR code now. But with some good messaging. So it says, check in for a chance to win, scan for full details, and to find a Wendy's near you. So it's both location-based as well as, you know, competition or, you know, some kind of contest going on here that you can win stuff. and check-ins. So it's a combination of things here. So it's not just a scan to win. It's a check-in based system as well. It's finding the closest Wendy's to where you are. So they're combining all of these elements. So for that, I think it's it's solid in that sense. But you're right. I mean, everybody's doing this. Taco Bell, KFC, McDonald's. Everybody's putting QR codes out there right now. So.
Yeah, my only thing with this is I like that. I just pulled it up on the screen here, which was the an image of it, which is check in for a chance to win, scan for full details. It's on the bag, and then it says find a Wendy's near you. Dude, I'm carrying the Wendy's bag from a takeout Wendy's. I already found the Wendy's near to me. Right? What do you want me to do? Go to another Wendy's? I like the idea of QR codes. Putting it on your bag as you're taking it out to find out another restaurant where another restaurant location is insane. What a waste. Like you talk about your messaging, the impact of the messaging. You're right, Asif. But why would they put that? Find a Wendy's near you on a takeout bag.
Yeah.
Wait. There's one. There's a litter.
I think it's less about finding a Wendy's near you,
right,
and more about you've already come to a Wendy's. You've already bought stuff from me. It's sort of like if I could correlate it in a different way, it's sort of like when you got your Facebook page or your Twitter thing, and you've got 100,000 people that say they like you or they follow you or whatever the term is we want to go with today. Effectively, if you've just bought stuff at Wendy's, you like Wendy's or you're following them, right? So what you're doing here is you're creating further engagement with people who are already identified as fans of your brand,
right?
Who've just bought product from you. In fact, more than just fans.
Yeah. Like they already spent money
with you.
Yeah.
So you're extending the engagement, further down the channel by doing this, by putting that QR code on there. You're saying, okay, you already like us. You just bought stuff from us. Scan this thing and you can win stuff and you can do stuff. And maybe if you're, maybe you bought that on your way into work, and maybe, on your way into work, you can find another Wendy's that you could, you stop there for breakfast and now you can find one for lunch. Well, okay, great. But yeah, I think
go see your doctor.
You're right. The find the Wendy's part of it, is probably less useful.
Yeah.
But the check-in and contest part makes sense in this context. But and again, it's about engagement with existing customers and just, furthering that loyalty.
Totally agree. And if that's the message you want to get around, get out there, get it out there. And I don't know who goes onto Facebook and likes Wendy's, right? Other than people who are in contests or competition, something like this. Because it's a weird thing to me to like a brand like Wendy's because it's transient. It's whatever's near to you. Like you like the Wendy's that is near to you. You don't go out of your way to drive to a specific Wendy's because of the atmosphere, right? You like the Wendy's near to you, and it's all about proximity. So you leverage that with something like this. A QR code around. I don't think that anybody has a favorite Wendy's. I can't imagine, right? So you might like Wendy's itself, but engagement. And it's another thing to have them engage when they're in there, but be very specific, as you said. The messaging around the QR code has to be something that you actually want them to do. So get an action out of them. So either for the contest or get a like or sign up for an email, newsletter, whatever it is. But then there's also the other side of it, which is driving traffic to the store, to specific stores. And I think that's they're missing opportunity here for that. If this is all just on the takeout bag, you also want to increase basket size. You also want to increase, when people are making a decision, do I really want that, artery hardening food or this artery hardening food? I want them to make a decision to go to Wendy's, and how do you do that, and how do you use mobile and location to do that? And so I think that there's opportunity here for Wendy's, but cool that they're doing this. But man, if you like Wendy's on your if you like Wendy's, and you've done it on a Facebook page and you go there quite often, I don't want to judge, but I would go see a doctor. I'd start eating some greens, some fresh greens. That's it.
All right,
that's our health.
You heard it here first, people.
Eat fresh greens.
Eat fresh greens. There you go.
Those are the 5 stories that Asif has culled through the internet over the last week, and all focused on location-based, and a great diversity. We got farms, man. We got airports. We got fast food. We got Foursquare. Man, it's I love this kind of stuff. And if your story isn't there, if you'd like to suggest it, reach out, untether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma.com. We've had some really great feedback from stories, but we'd like some more. give us, it doesn't have to, the further away you are from North America, the deeper you are in Asia or Europe, and, the smallest of stories over there might be huge news for everybody over, everywhere else in the world. So please reach out and let us know. Please. We'd love to hear from you. Great stories, Asif. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
So our segment today, literally, I sat down with Lars Hard, who is the founder of an artificial intelligence company called Expertmaker, and this is a pretty unique conversation because I had an agenda over here, and we started talking over here, and this is a clip around a very broad conversation, but very much around location and how location. Lars, it's really interesting. He doesn't believe that the database. He thinks the database should be abolished, and this is a piece of that clip that he explains why. But it has a very, very relevant message here for location-based marketing, inference, understanding what your customer is doing, time of day, all that kind of stuff. But it's all isolated to location, and I love the way that Lars thinks. He's going to blow your mind, I guarantee it. So without further ado, Lars Hard, founder of artificial intelligence company Expertmaker, expertmaker.com. And this is part of a larger interview that will be up on untether.tv in the coming days. Really enjoyed this conversation. Hope you do as well. We'll be back on the flip. Expertmaker has been around since 2006, well before this real mobile revolution started when the first iPhone was released. So why don't you describe, what is Expertmaker, and then we're gonna really dive into some of these topics that I mentioned at the top.
Okay, Expertmaker is actually an artificial intelligence company, and we have a slightly different approach than many other companies in this space that we can find out on the market today, because we decided quite early on in developing our company that we wanted to have a broad deployment of AI to give more people access to this kind of technologies that will enable more small companies to utilize and gain value from this kind of technologies, because normally AI is associated with very secret research labs and very large budgets and so on. And that has been a historical problem, or it has also had a very academic side to it, not really proving what it could be utilized in for many different kinds of situations. So we are not talking about rocket science anymore. We are trying to provide very simple to use tools that a more broader audience can utilize to enhance and create value for their normal standard business. And what is an exciting development is actually that this stuff fits really well into the mobile space, because there are so many problems associated with being mobile, having a small screen device, and so on and so on. So there are many, many advantages bringing this kind of technology on.
So you're bringing it, like the whole goal of Expertmaker was to somewhat democratize or simplify artificial intelligence so that small businesses, any business, can start to use this in a way that benefits them, as keeping it out of that research level and bringing it, really making it human, so to speak, artificial intelligence, humanizing artificial intelligence. Does that make sense?
That absolutely makes sense, because looking at this space, it normally requires quite a lot to produce anything that's smart, and we all know that today we are writing software in order to produce a good high quality service, regardless if it's for web or it's for mobile. But we have to write that, we have to create programs that do it. Bringing on artificial intelligence becomes more like a teaching activity. It's like having more data available, and how do we transform all this data into something more meaningful, and how do we transform it into new kinds of services that provides value for customers. So that requires new thinking and new tools and a bit new methods, but it's for everyone, because knowledge is not for just the smart guys in the research labs with white coats on them. It's for everyone, because everyone who has a business knows something about their business. And the question is there an efficient tool that can transform some of that knowledge that will improve the business itself or create higher value? For example, can I create a better recommendation system if I have an e-business site, a mobile e-business site? Can I create a higher value by providing better discovery features, for example, that so people can find the right products that they need, or a better recommendation system? If I can do that and I can add some of my own knowledge and experience, because if I have a business, I know a lot about it for sure. And if I can transfer that in some way, then I mean that's really the next step. So we need a bit of new tools and a few new methods how to work with this, and that in turn results in hopefully higher quality services. And it has nothing to do with actually creating some kind of artificial brains. It's very practical and very pragmatic actually.
Yeah, there's no neuroscience involved here. This is crunching data and looking for patterns ultimately, and then providing those patterns back.
Yeah, that is one way of looking at it, because there are many techniques that we look at, and neuroscience, for example, has had a tremendous impact on artificial intelligence, because we are learning how to create efficient systems and models based and inspired by biological systems. So that's where neuroscience comes into this, but it's still relatively simplistic, and often we misuse artificial intelligence in terms that we always think that it's kind of a rocket science for only very advanced problems, like sending things out in space or creating very advanced discovery system for very complicated data in medicine or whatever it is that we try to achieve. But there are so many applications that could benefit from becoming slightly a bit more human-like, slightly understanding a bit more about where we are, how we want to interact. And that spans over many different faculties, like recognizing images, understanding noise, voices, sounds, music. It spans over recommending stuff, finding an optimal configuration, for example, or estimate something that could help people to understand and get insights in their own problems or situations and help them to find the right items, for example, to buy. And so there are many techniques and many sources of inspiration, but the direction often comes from it comes from intelligence itself, and that thus neuroscience is somewhat relevant in this discussion anyway. So.
And that was Lars Hard, who's the founder of artificial intelligence company Expertmaker. Go to expertmaker.com for more information, and stay tuned to untether.tv for the full interview. It's almost an hour with Lars about this. So if your mind was blown by this little segment, I can't imagine what will happen when you watch the whole thing. So Lars, really appreciate you doing the interview for Untether and allowing us to use that clip here on This Week in Location-Based Marketing. AI, Asif, cool. Especially when used for good.
It is. And it hasn't even begun yet, really.
No, and that's what we make very clear in this episode and in this interview is that, it has not begun. That we are just at the beginning of this. Brought on, really, by, the pervasive computing in our pocket because of the smartphones and tablets. I think that's really what ignited this. And obviously the commercial success of Siri for Apple and then Android's counterpart. And I think that this is just the beginning. So stay tuned. Pretty cool. Thank you, Lars. All right. So out in the world, there's all this funding activity, M&A activity. We have 2 fundings this week in a merger of equals, I would say. We're going to start with one of these companies. I find this all the time. You go into a restaurant, there's a long wait. They don't accept reservations. It's first come, first serve. And you're handed, what are you handed? You're handed a, what? A pager? Like, that's so old school.
Yeah.
Old school. So this company called NoWait, literally, NoWait, has it's not an innovative idea. I think there are a lot of companies out there that are doing this, but they raised $2 million to do what, Asif? Help battle that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a restaurant seating management tool. It's an iOS tablet app for iPad. $2 million coming from Birchmere Ventures, as well as some of the Sandhill Angel guys. So this is a company that's been around for a couple of years. They've come out of a thing called the Southside Accelerator Program, the Alpha Lab. So it's a one of those companies that's emerged from an incubator type of environment. Yeah, and they've been doing some good stuff. Apparently, they've got about 4 million people have used this already. 45 states, Canada, and Puerto Rico. They've got apparently they're signing up between 150 and 200 restaurants a month at the moment. So they're making progress, and now they've got a little bit of capital to keep going. So,
second story. This is interesting because it's like competitive intelligence sneaking behind the back. WhatRunsWhere is a company that does this, and they just bought a company called Mobile AdSpy that really allows you to know where your competitors are buying their mobile ads. Right? I like this.
Yeah, I do too. This is really it's kind of sneaky but kind of cool. And at the end of the day, when you look at advertising spend, tracking performance of that ad spend is a big task. I mean, it's sometimes very, very difficult depending on what media we're talking about, whether it's online or mobile or text advertising or what have you. The ability to track that and sort of monitor performance around advertising is really interesting. And so that's the area that WhatRunsWhere comes from. They wanted to sort of augment their abilities on the mobile platform in particular. These guys have been big in the online world for a while. And so Mobile AdSpy is a company that was doing that. But yeah, I mean, this is cool. So this is your P&G. And now if you work with these guys, you can know what Unilever's buying and the performance of that, and sort of change your spend accordingly. So this is good stuff.
And I mean, so WhatRunsWhere was the web version of this, and then Mobile AdSpy is obviously the mobile version of this. And I like, this is a good combination because more and more, it's a blended buy right now when it comes to marketing and advertising, web and mobile. And there's some statistic that says that it's a ridiculous stat, and I can't believe I'm quoting it, but 7% of your spend should be in mobile. The right amount should be in mobile. Yeah. Maybe not 7%, but we're gonna
maybe like 2% of your spend should be on sponsoring This Week in Location-Based Marketing.
2%.
Yeah.
How about 0.5%? I think on some of these budgets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take it. Well, whatever you got,
we will
send it our way. We're happy to accept.
We will.
So.
We will not bring on any competitors either. So don't worry about it. They'll know exactly where you're advertising simply because you will be here with us, and we will make sure that people know about that. WhatRunsWhere acquires Mobile AdSpy. You can get information from WhatRunsWhere.com. The last piece of funding news, a little bit more of an investment. Wallaby closes a small round. What? Wallaby? Is this an Australian company? Sounds like it, eh?
Yeah, so Wallaby Financial, actually. $1.1 million, and what they've launched is what they're describing as a cloud-based wallet. For optimizing rewards, points, airline miles, and other benefits. So this is it's a seed round. So these guys are brand new, led by Founders Fund Angel, as well as a group called WI Harper Group, SLP Ventures, and Lionwells Capital, all participating in this. The interesting thing here is one of the things that they noted in the statement here is that they've got some investment and I guess some management guidance from executives from Green Dot, and Green Dot is a huge player in the financial transaction world. So there's certainly some pedigree behind this. When I see statements like that, which bodes well for the potential for this to have a chance at success. Anyways, I won't say it'll be successful, but. Yeah.
Well, it strikes me that $1.1 million is not enough to compete in this space when you've got behemoths like PayPal. That is exactly their business. The PayPal card, which is basically a front and I mean that in a good way, for all of your where you keep your money. That's your bank account, your PayPal account, your Facebook credits, every other credit card that you have, every other transaction that they have, and that's what these guys are getting into. So, you know, I look at Wallaby Financial. It's obviously a big market, but Amazon is going to want to play in this. You know, ultimately, Apple is already doing this right now with your Apple ID, and all these companies want to get into this space. $1.1 million, even if this is a seed investment, this is going to require many millions of dollars just in marketing to catch up to some of the players that are out there like right now. And this is not enough. And you know, maybe too little, too late for a company like this. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this, but we'll see. I mean, if you're interested in these guys, it's Wallaby Financial, but you can find them at WALLA.BY, Wallaby.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll let's call it for now a company to watch, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. It's a competitive space. We're always talking about mobile payments, and you know, lots going on obviously in that world. But you know, yet another player, $1.1 million, and we'll keep our eyes on it, and hopefully have something good to report down the road.
Yeah, I think that's you know, this is an interesting space, right? That aggregator of the card, right? So that it's basically one card to rule all, to pay all. And I think that the first company that gets this right, maybe they don't win, but I'm still waiting for that company to be able to say that this is your de facto card, and this actually allows me to pay with Facebook credits, or it allows me to pay with some other currency that is not cash. It allows me.
I mean, the angle they're going after here is card optimization, right? So this is about every card that we carry has some sort of bonus points, reward program, something tied to it.
That's a loyalty play.
And the challenge is what they're saying is, the challenge is, how do you know what's the best card to use for you to get the best benefit in terms of rewards or points or what have you? So that they've you know, they're optimizing that in the cloud and trying to figure out, okay, well, you know, it's all aggregated onto this one card, but you know, that particular transaction we're going to you know, put through your MasterCard. This one we're going to put through your Amex because you know, there's a better return for you. So that's what they're doing.
I like that play. We've talked about that many times before, about trying to bring that to the forefront, and I like that. Walla.b, go and check them out. They've raised $1.1 million, and I think that they're going to need a little bit more. Those are the three funding stories, M&A and funding stories for this week's episode. If we missed yours, reach out, untethered@gmail.com or asif@the LBMA. We'd love to hear you, love to put it in there, love to talk about it, love to bring it to the forefront. You know, if you raise money, I don't think it's the thing that you want to celebrate. I think that closing your first customer, maybe we should have a segment on that, closing your first customer, but it's a big milestone in a lot of companies' history. So if you want to push that out, let's push it out. We'll help you.
All right.
Last piece, our resource of the week.
New report out, Juniper Research. These guys are, you know, putting out some great reports lately. So they're saying 2.5 billion downloads by 2017 of AR apps. I'm a big fan of AR. I think you know, we're just in the early days. There's a lot of great companies out there. You know, some good LBMA member companies in this space as well. I'm thinking of Gold Run out of New York that's been working with NBC, that's been working with H&M. You know, and a whole bunch of other great brands. You know, there's a lot of potential around AR. You know, and I can see where, you know, 2.5 billion downloads. I don't think that's going to be a problem by 2017. We're just getting to that point where consumers are getting comfortable with it. For those who aren't from the Toronto area or Canada, the big thing that happens here in Toronto on this weekend, this long weekend here, the Labor Day weekend, is the Canadian National Exhibition, and I was there on Saturday with the whole family, and I downloaded the CNE app, and they've got AR built into this app. The place is huge. If you've ever been there, the grounds are just massive, you know, with like tons of buildings and rides and games and shows and all kinds of stuff going on. And I said, let me see what this thing is. So, and I launched the app, and I held up the, you know, the AR thing with the camera, and they literally have layered on top of the visual the view of what you can actually see around you. You just hold the phone and you walk around, and it's pointing you directions on how to get to all the different, you know, places. that are part of the grounds. So, you know, it's coming. It's going to be built into every single app, you know, of that ilk. You know, restaurants, couponing sites. You know, we talked a while ago about you know, the stuff that Cox Target Media is doing with the old blue envelopes of coupons and layering those into augmented reality. Valpak, I'm talking about, which is a company they own. They're using Genio for that, to do that. There's companies like Wowie that are out there that are connecting this to toys. You know, I mentioned Gold Run already. Blipper in the UK, that's working with Tesco and Cadbury and some great brands over there. So there's plenty going on.
You know, when you start to think about that, especially augmented reality with apps and toys, I think that's a pretty cool place and a cool place to go. And you know, I was just pulling up the CNE app. There is a use for it, but it my thing is about speed, right? And
yeah.
You know, there's still mapping technology is still the fastest way to do this. However, you know, I can see that there will be a demand for this kind of augmented reality, especially as the rumored screens for the iPhone getting bigger. We got the Android devices that are much bigger. You get a little bit more real estate. You know, first implementation of augmented reality was a little bit tough.
Yeah.
It's like the if you're an old web guy like me, the virtual reality, the VRML language that you were supposed to, you know, flow through the web and look at virtual stores and everything like that. It didn't really work out so well. It was just too clunky, and I think that's what they have to get over here. But 2.5 billion doesn't seem outrageous, not at all.
No, it doesn't. And you know, just one last thought on this too. If this is a space that you're interested in, augmented reality, that is, you want to learn more about it. The LBMA is actually hosting an event in October, October the 10th in New York City. You know, we're bringing the New York chapter together again. October the 10th at JWT headquarters, and the whole focus of the event is augmented reality. Keynote is Vivian Rosenthal from Gold Run, and we'll have an expert panel talking about it as well. So, you know, augmented reality discussion October 10th in New York.
And they can register where?
They'll be able to register. We haven't launched it yet. It'll be later this week. You'll be able to register on the LBMA website. So just go to thelbma.com/events and you'll see it there.
Well, what a great way to end the show. 2.5 billion downloads for augmented reality apps. I think that if you say that it's going to be a part of a lot of the apps built into a lot of these apps,
yeah,
then that's an easy piece. You start to think about the uses around retail, and you know, we talked about groceries, subways, tourism. Yeah, it makes sense that this will be baked in quite a few apps. So 2.5
yes, billion,
not a big stretch. But that report from Juniper is 2,500 pounds. Or 2,500 euros, I think.
Not cheap.
Like it's amazing. So if anybody out there has any resources about augmented reality like this that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, that actually businesses can afford to implement with tactical implementation tips, those kind of things. You know, aside from the panel that's going to happen in New York in October with Gold Run and the Location-Based Marketing Association, like reach out, like let's start to publicize this stuff.
Yep.
Use this audience and this avenue to broadcast that kind of stuff, because you know, we need this democratized. We need this information a little bit cheaper than 2,500 euros.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, the LBMA will be doing a report later in the fall, so probably around end of November, actually.
Yeah.
We'll be releasing a white paper on augmented reality and kind of some case studies and whatnot in that too. So lots going on in the space.
So thank you guys for watching wherever you are. Really appreciate it. Asif, any final parting words?
No, you know, just want to thank Proximity again, and anybody else out there who watches the show. We really appreciate the support. And if you if you got the time, you know, send us a note like that on Twitter. You know, give us 5 stars in the App Store, in iTunes. You know, whatever. Just we really appreciate the encouragement. Rob and I are passionate about this, and we love doing it. And if you got great stories out there, let us know.
Bring it forward. All right, that's it for episode number 93. We'll see you next week for episode number 94. Asif, have a great week. Thank you, guys.
You too. This
century's version of the breath mint right? I don't want to grab that anymore. So